Okay, I got a '08 Envoy here that I was just doing some general maintenance on and brought it into the garage and it started leaking coolant all over the place. It looks to me like a water pump, but I'm going to take this fan off so I can make sure that it's the water pump and not some other hose or thermostat housing or something like that leaking. Alright, so the coolant was low enough I knew it wouldn't be any in this upper hose here. Now that we got this off, so putting the screwdriver down in between these two, the bolt and the large nut on the fan clutch, and giving it a tap with a hammer broke it loose with the heat. Take this, you have two 10mm up here on top of the fan shroud, and then we'll get this out and see what's leaking. I'm just going to take this whole upper hose off to make it easier to get some room in here. Okay. Two lines that are pressed into this. Just push those out. Alright, I've got the upper hose back on. I'm going to start this up, find out where this leak is coming from, and obviously be careful of this when it's spinning. As this sat overnight, the coolant dripped out of that water pump. So I just looked at the footage and the only thing back there is the water pump. So take the belt off, take this off, and we'll be right at the water pump. So one thing you'll need to do with this is drain the coolant out of it, and the only way to do that on this is to, I didn't find a petcock on here anywhere, so the only way to do it is to take this lower hose off. Alright, so to move this tensioner, there's a square head right here. Don't touch that bolt. Put this in here. Move it down. They are 13. So let's see. It's very, very light scuffing pad. Just gonna touch up this gasket area. The whole gasket came off with it, so that was nice. So we got a new water pump here, and this gasket is actually, it's metal, and it's got an O-ring kind of built into it, so that's pretty nice. We don't have to put any sealant or anything on this. Get this positioned down here. Got our two closest bolts right here. Thumb wheel attachment comes in pretty handy. Got them all snug. Went around in a star pattern, skipping one. Make sure the inside of our pulley's cleaned up. So it's nice and flat. There's no rust on there. Alright, here's our belt diagram. Let's get this back down again. Okay, just double check this. All they're in that they're all in the right grooves. I'm going to pull this over back a little bit more. Right there. So I'm going to fill it up with a little bit of coolant just to make sure that, and run it, make sure that we don't have a leak anymore. Alright, comes to mixing coolant, you don't want to use your house water or water from the hose. You got to use distilled water with coolant. So with an empty gallon jug, we poured half of our concentrate into here, fill it up with the distilled water. We can take our distilled water, pour it in here. And we have 2 gallons of premix. So I'll label this, put a tag on it that it's already pre-mixed, put it on the shelf. So before it was running right down in the block, right where my light is now on that bolt, and it is dry. Alright, so let this run for about 5 minutes. There's no leaks anymore. So I'll take this top hose back off, and I have a drain pan down there so we can get the cooling fan put back in. Here's a look at the cooling fan assembly and shroud. On the bottom it just has these 2 pins that fit into 2 holes in the frame. I'll show you, and you don't have to take these 4 bolts out in the car. That just holds in the fan clutch. So the 2 bottom parts on the 2 bottom pins on the shroud go into that hole and into that hole. Push these lines back into place. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on these because they're getting rusty. Install the upper hose. What I'll do is fill this up with coolant, start the engine, turn the heater on high, and then keep the radiator cap off until I see the thermostat open, and then add some coolant till it's up to the full mark. So this funnel fits down far enough where it's blocking the coolant overflow hose, and watch this long enough, as it heats up, you'll see the air bubbles coming out of the funnel here, purging the air out of the system. This has been running for almost 15 minutes and we're still getting burps of air out of it. The block is completely dry where it was dripping before. Alright, to get rid of this, go get your wife's turkey baster. I've had this one for quite a while, obviously. And don't take this back in the kitchen. And that's it for this one. All right, so let's talk cost and time on this. So how much did this cost?
$250,000.
No, it wasn't that much. The water pump was $70. I got a brand new AutoZone one, so I'll be a guinea pig for you guys and see how an AutoZone water pump does. And the coolant was about $14. This distilled water is $1 a gallon. Other than that, it's just time. So altogether, I would say this took about an hour to get it in and an hour out, so not too bad. Kind of an easy job.